Welcome to MentorUsLive. I'm your host, Pedzi Chimbwanda. And as you know, our goal with this show is to introduce a different narrative through people with their businesses and ideas who are making an impact in their communities, and hoping that at some point in the conversation, we can inspire you to pursue your own. All right, our guest for tonight went rock bottom and got up holding a simple and yet empowering tool in fintech. With 15 years experience as a serial entrepreneur, Gilbert went from being a registered EcoCash agent to starting a microfinance business commonly known as GIDZA CREDIT. Using his qualifications in taxation and accounting, Gilbert Gwaze has demystified the cutthroat loan shark environment into a full-fledged consultancy firm, advising the layman on how to invest, how to retain wealth, and how to dream big. Pushing the hustle even further, Gilbert soaked himself in the tech revolution and qualified himself as an online marketing specialist. And he says his dream is to touch lives with this new venture in online education. Tonight it is our privilege, our pleasure, and definitely an honor for me to be speaking with you, Mr. Gwaze.
Thank you so much, Pedzi, for having me.
Welcome to MentorUsLive.
Nice setup.
Long time coming, brother.
Long time
coming.
For sure.
You know, I'm excited because when you told me your story and when I went into the back end and looked at it, man, I just thought to myself, I haven't been through nothing. I haven't been through it all. You went to rock bottom. I think that story from there to where you are, take us through that journey. Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. I was born from a family of four. My mother has been the whole hustler behind the whole Gwaze family. Okay. She's been experimenting with a whole lot, and growing up seeing that, it kind of like blended into my DNA that I was born to do something like she was doing, because she's a serial risk taker. So at the age of 21, after moving out of her house, deciding to stay with a friend on my own, I was trying to figure my way out. And so basically I was moving from one point to the other on a hit and miss basis. I didn't really have an idea or a clue of what I wanted to set my focus on. So that I learned a lot of lessons, some good, some bad. I learned the cutthroat environment of Harare, different people with different intentions.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
I like that. I saw the passion in that one.
Yeah. I'm a person with a very huge heart, with a very big heart. Yeah. And once I set my mind to do something, I tend to challenge myself to complete or to finish it. And so I figured that was a weakness to some extent. When someone sees that in you, they're quick to want to exploit you for that. And so it was a hard lesson of failures, trusting people too quickly without performing your due diligence. You know, when you grow up in the environment which we grew up in, which is the so-called ghetto, love dominates there. Someone can wake up from their place of residence to come and visit you just to see how you're doing. Yeah. And taking those kind of standards to a business environment is kind of tricky, because you can fall victim to a whole lot of people who don't have the courage, who don't have the love that you have. And yeah, a lot of people took advantage, but I take them as lessons. I don't take them as failures. I take them as breakthroughs, because it did not been for those people, a series of people who displayed a lot of distrust, who displayed a lot of dishonesty. I wouldn't have the courage to be and to do what I'm doing today, because it requires so much.
And how did you birth the GIDZA CREDIT idea? Where did it come from?
My God, it's going to take a whole day. But anyway, let me try to give it a short. Let me try to shorten the story the best way I can. When I was running a media company called Evolution, and the ship crashed, bottom line, and I was left with no idea. So I looked for a job instead. I never wanted to be employed. I never felt comfortable in an employment environment because you're not creative, bottom line.
Yeah.
Your creativity ability is so limited because it's more like routine work that you're following. Each and every day, you're being told what to do. And in about 2 weeks' time, you already know what you're supposed to do. And it carries on for years. And there's a comfort that comes with it. I don't deny that. But I was never built for that kind of environment. So after all the trials that I'd gone through, I figured the best fallback position that I could take for that particular moment was to find employment. And the type of employment and my qualification and exposure wasn't the type of employment that you'd think I would enroll in.
Yeah.
But I registered or I signed up a contract with Econet when they launched their EcoCash brand as a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
And so there I started going on the streets. Had I not taken that, looking back, had I not taken that route of downsizing and going down back to the basics, I wouldn't have known where real marketing occurs.
Okay.
Right. So that was a very huge lesson I learned when I was on the streets, meeting different types of people who do different types of things.
So you actually were wearing that bib?
I was actually wearing that bib.
Wow.
I had a cap and a t-shirt, and I was working along Lopo Takawera. Even if you go there today, people still call me EcoCash. But
do you have some in your phone you can just hook me up?
Oh yeah. But from there, I learned so many invaluable lessons, and that's when I discovered that while the vendors were still operating in town,
Yeah.
I discovered that there was something special that was going on with that world, the vendor world. I could look at the people who were selling sweets, Vicks, watches, what you call it. And what I discovered was that those people, in as much as they are so looked down upon, they drive the economy of Ferrari, bottom line.
Wow.
How? It's because I discovered that if they can sell $20 a day and make a profit, a 100% profit, and which means they've made $10 profit in a day, you multiply that by 30 days, that's $300. That is on a West day, right?
Wow.
So I quickly figured as things happen in town, if I give them $10 to improve their variety of this type of things that they're selling, they could pay me back. But there was a problem with that. I didn't have any collateral to hold with them. And so for quite some time, I went on with that. But I quickly learned the realities of the business of trying to give someone capital and to pay them back with interest because they were not giving me any collateral of any sort. And so I went on. Fast forward, I ended up leaving the Econet brand ambassador title and started my own EcoCash agencies, bottom line. So fast forward to that, an epiphany hit me because always in my mind I could always visualize the types of numbers that I was seeing that I could help, that I could give capital, and they could pay me back with interest on top. And so it kept on playing in my mind that what is the best way I can help these people, up until one day, boom, an epiphany hit me, an idea hit me that everyone, this is 2018, everyone has a cell phone or a smartphone, so to call it, something that you use for WhatsApp and all that. So that hit me quite hard. And from there, the GIDZA idea was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So people basically, okay, let's just track this. You discovered the idea on the streets because you're in touch with the people and their reality.
True.
No book, nothing out of this world, no college degree, nothing in terms of fintech. You are not even a developer.
Never.
Wow. So there's no excuse.
There is no excuse.
Everybody can make it.
Anybody can make it. Okay. Prior to this Econet contract, I had my fair share of employment with Stanbic Bank. So I'd been a banker. But what I was doing in the branch, well, it had nothing to do with giving people loans. It was merely servicing customers and making sure that they're okay. So when the idea hit me that I could give people capital, so to call it, and I can hold their phones. So, a phone is something that someone can't operate without.
Come back for it.
Yes. And so I started off from there. So I started holding people's phones and graduated to people's laptops, graduated to people's TVs, smart TVs.
Wow.
And now I'm on to vehicles, motor vehicles. So it has taken its own, trajectory, and it's quite an exciting journey, because at each and every stage that I moved on to the next stage, I've learned quite a lot, yeah.
That's so interesting.
True.
We really want to dive deep into the educational part, because you have now a upcoming online educational facility.
True.
That teaches people how to think, why to think, and what to think about. Let's talk about that just as soon as we come back after this break. Don't leave. See you just now.
When I travel far and wide, I'm always searching for an easy way to get things in one place. It's right here, it is at your fingertips. This is it. Check it out, it's got it all. Gateway Street. A lifestyle like no other that you know. Get it all, get it now, all in one experience. This is it. Gateway Street. Gateway Street. This is it.
Gateway Stream. The future is here now. Download the app from Google Play and Apple App Store. Gateway Stream, a subsidiary of the Rainbow Tourism Group.
Welcome back to MentorUsLive. I'm your host, Pedzi Chimbwanda, and today we have the privilege of consuming information, knowledge, and expertise from a person who moved from what people would neglect as a business or a job to owning his own enterprise and being successful, proud, and expanding others with it. Mr. Gwaze, I like something about, because I'm into mentorship, and I always enjoy interacting with several young entrepreneurs. There's a statement that you said at some point that we were never taught how to decide in school. Tell me, I like that. It was really deep. Can I hear your opinion and exactly what you meant with that statement?
Okay, that's a good question, but I'll answer it like this. In school, the whole school system is set up in such a way that you acquire knowledge. It's all about information, consuming information. And it's all about consumption. Never, or if you're lucky enough to then discover that this information that I now hold within myself, I need to use it at some point. If you don't realize that, you're only going to be someone who's going to be consuming information. And school has taught us to go by, you read, you remember, you offload, and then you are given a degree. Okay. But you don't read and remember and apply. In the real world now, you need that final part that I just said. You need application. And for application, for you to be able to apply your information so that you achieve the desire that you want to achieve, it takes someone who now has exercised that role of application. And so you find out that, going back to your question, in as far as decision making is concerned, it's such a simple thing, but in school we are never taught how to make decisions. Ever since we were little kids, I've got a 3-year-old, if you don't teach the kids to make decisions, they are going to grow to be adults, my age, without being in a position to make simple decisions. Like, what am I going to wear today? What am I going to eat tomorrow? What am I going to eat today? Who am I going to spend my time with? Those simple decisions are the ones that differentiates those who are successful to those who really face a tough time in life outside school. Wow. So decision making, I personally think that it should have been a subject that was supposed to be taught in school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
I personally believe that.
And are we somewhat saying that, because a lot of young people, they listen to the stories of these international successful business people, college dropouts, but now successful. And that kind of is being, it's becoming a misconception within people. What's your take in terms of college education and the relevance of it within our environment here in Zim or in Africa? I don't know.
Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against education, because education exercises some faculties which we are naturally born with. It exercises your memory, it teaches you to reason in some instances, right? It gives you that ability to focus on one thing at a certain point in time. But, you know, education it's important in developing to a certain extent your faculties, which will guide you and help you to maneuver in this business world, so to call it. I'm not saying everyone should be a business person, but should you decide to be a business person, you really need to know what you're getting yourself into. You're going to have to be a very first decision maker, and you shouldn't change your decision if ever you decide to change your decisions. Or you should change your decision slowly, if ever you choose to change that decision. Once you decide something, you go for that. And it's a skill that you learn or that you practice yourself to teach yourself to make simple decisions. You exercise just like a muscle. If you're training into the gym every day, or if you're running every day, you know, the day ones are not going to be able to match up with you, because you'll be doing it for so long. And the same applies with decision making. Just practice making your own decisions from the simplest up until the complicated decision. The art is the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like success in business and decision making is basically like what you're saying, muscle memory.
Yeah.
So, okay, where is all this information available? There could be that young person watching in their bedroom, but is trying to crack their head to think, where do I find the next best idea to do? Where do they find these ideas?
That's a good question, but I'll say this. On average, the average person is last read a book, if ever they into reading, from the period they left school.
That's sad.
So that's the saddest part.
Yeah.
So the only solution to all that, for anyone who wants to know more, who wants to evolve, who wants to grow, business-wise or personal-wise, the only thing there is to study.
Wow.
You've just got to walk into that bookstop, go to the self-help corner, find yourself a book, and just dive deep into it. You will be amazed at the information that has been lying in that book for so many years, and no one is there to touch it. Wow. And I have found most of my information from studying and masterminding with like-minded people who think the way I think, who've got similar desires to the desires that I have. So I would really say to that young person who really wants to start out there, confused, go bury yourself in books, hold a book, get back to that habit of studying without someone watching over you.
And in terms of like your mindset, we've had the opportunity to interact quite a little bit, and I've discovered that your mindset, it's like you've created a wall that disallows anything negative, anything contrary to what you believe to get in. And at the same time, there are certain things you always say, don't say that, don't say that. What is your philosophy in terms of words and even goals and all that?
Okay, I've grown to understand and to believe that you get what you give.
Okay.
Right? As in, you attract what comes out of you.
Okay.
And so the bottom line of the concept, some might well know it as the law of attraction, where what you say, what you think all day is what is going to manifest in your environment at any given point in time. That is by law. It's not by design.
So it's not like some hocus pocus
No.
stuff.
No. It's by law.
Whether you believe it or not.
It's by law. It's not a man-made thing.
So
it's
you're
by
saying
law.
some people are thinking themselves into poverty?
True. If we could just stop for a moment or just stop for a second to really stop and put the brakes on and be cautious of our thoughts, we would be speechless. We would be speechless. Because at the same time, you desire riches, you desire a good life, you desire a healthy life, but what help does it do to you if constantly you are hanging around poor people, you are hanging around negative people, you are hanging around people who talk bad about other people? What benefit is that for you?
Oh, wow.
Eventually you're going to catch up with that, and you start living those things, you start thinking like them, and eventually you start talking the same way they talk. So what you are going to talk or what you are going to discharge outside is going to be replaced by something similar to what has just left you. So that's where actually the law of attraction comes into play. And that's how I understood it. And to me, it means a lot. So I'm very cautious and careful who I hang around with, who I talk to, what I watch on TV. I've soon decided not to read the newspaper because it's all about negativity. They talk of opposition.
Okay. Okay.
The moment, check this. The moment someone says, I'm the opposite of you, consciously, what does that do to you? It puts you in a negative vibe, right?
Yeah.
And so that type of talk, that type of rhetoric that we consume on a daily basis, even if we don't want to, you're force-fed that type of information. And at the end of the day, you end up thinking that it's me against something, but you don't really know what you're against. You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm very cautious of what goes through my mind, the thoughts that I carry all day, and all that. Yeah. So bottom line, that's how I operate.
I like that. We're just going to take a short break. We're talking about dieting stuff for your mind. It's not enough to just look after your body, but even your mind is the most important tool of it all. Let's catch up on this conversation soon after this break.
In a land far from home, you work to provide and put smiles on their faces, to lift them up when they can't reach. Driven by the thoughts and love of those you left behind, you become a handy source of help and relief. You take a minute from your busy schedule to send money, just so you can pay that bill and be their strength when they are weak. Even when you're tied up, you're still able to send money for that treat. You keep going, even when you're tired, just so you can create a brighter future for them. Send money instantly at the lowest fees on Sasai. It's safe and convenient. You chat whilst you remit, and no amount is too little to send. It's an all-in-one super app that offers you so much more. Sasai, you've got the power.
Welcome back to MentorUsLive. Oh my gosh, this particular interview is really exciting because it's provoking the mind, and it's actually helping me discard of a lot of things that I had set in as pillars for success. Let's hear more from Gilbert Gwaze. So Gilbert, the whole mind game thing is very important. I want to ask you something really briefly. How do you jump out of a certain mindset when it was cultivated within you throughout? Whether it was your background, which is, let's say it was a bad upbringing, could have been an abusive relationship, a bad business experience. How does one actually jump out of that? Because that could be maybe the reason for some of our fears to move forward. How do we jump out of that?
That's a very good question. I always believe that the first or the initial starting point is the realization that there is something bad inside of you that needs to be changed. Just that first step to give yourself an honest and deep analysis and look into yourself, not outside, into yourself, who you are as a person, the spirit that you are.
Okay.
Just that starting point of realizing that I've got bad habits,
Okay.
I've got a terrible temper, I've got trust issues. We can go all day naming the different types of problems that people are living with. Just that first step is the first initial and very important step, I believe, for someone to initiate any form of change.
Okay.
So once you realize that I've got bad seeds inside of me, which I need to change, there is a law of polarity.
Okay.
It's an universal law. There is an inside, there is an outside. There is night, there is day. There is a positive, there is a negative. So whenever you identify the negative, there is a polar opposite, which is the positive. You write it down, you focus on that. Each and every day, you commit to the new positive. By committing, I mean you wake up in the morning, you make sure that it sticks to your mind, either by reading it out loud. I was taught to do what they call the mirror work. I get in front of the mirror, then I can see myself the way I am and talk to me, not to anybody else, and talk to myself that I am this new person. I am a loving person. I am a caring person. That is if you're coming from a place of abuse, a place of distrust and all that funny stuff.
Okay.
If you're coming from a place of hate, you affirm each and every day. You repeat to yourself, not to anybody else. Because the whole trick is you're working the inside. And whatever change goes on inside, you soon see it outside.
Wow.
So it's an inside job.
I like that.
Yeah. So bottom line, just to summarize, you identify the negative,
Okay.
you identify the positive, or you ask for the divine to help you with the polar positive
Okay.
of what you're struggling with. It will appear. It will come. Wherever there is a problem, there is a solution.
Okay.
Don't forget. So you keep on repeating. You focus on the positive. Soon, the negative will die away and you become a new person with the positive.
Nice. I like that. So it's like the positives have to exist. They coexist.
They coexist.
But one has to be stronger than the other.
True.
Wow. That's deep.
They coexist. So it all depends on the amount of energy that you're putting towards the positive. Just like a flower. If you water more of the weeds than the flowers, you're going to get more of the weeds. You see? Simple analogy like that.
That's deep.
True.
All right. I like this particular section because it provokes a certain aspect of the interviewee's mind that they were not expecting. I'd like you to pick up a paper, read it out, and then it's what we call the what would you do section.
Whoa.
So read out your question. Let's see what you would do.
Okay, let me give it a shot. Given 2 minutes to speak to the 2019 graduating class of a major university, what advice would you give to them in order to prepare them for the real world?
Okay.
Bottom line, I would say what you have acquired as information all these years, it needs to be applied in the real world. And you have to find your position and your footing and make a print and leave a legacy by acting according to what you know already.
Okay.
We can't reinvent the wheel. Everybody says that. Okay. All we can do is never what you do, but how you're doing it. Bottom line. So my advice to the 2019 graduation class is have that faith that you can apply the knowledge that you have acquired all these years into your passion. And you will win if you do that.
Wow.
But a lot of people, that active faith seems to be the missing piece. And so they go on a hit and miss basis, or they look for someone to throw them a lifeline, and hoping that one day magic will happen and they'll be successful. No, it doesn't operate like that.
That's it.
You've got to operate with your mind, figure out your desires, figure out your goals, and give it a shot the best way you know how. The best way you know how. You've been taught how to do it all these years. All you need to do is to go apply it in exactly the same way you were taught, and you'll be successful. Trust me. Yeah.
Deep. An amazing, thought-provoking moment there, Mr. Gwaze. We are extremely excited and grateful because we believe that our minds are never going to be the same again. But just as a point of interest, how do people find you? Where should they look? Because I think a lot of people out there would like to get some time, whether host a seminar, your own classes. I know you do those. Where do they find you?
I'm always around, bottom line. But in this modern digital world of today, where the whole world is moving, the social media, you can type in Gilbert Gwaze on Facebook or GIDZA Loans on Instagram. You can find me on every social network that you can ever think of.
All right.
And yeah.
I'm sure you and MentorUsLive are really going to be getting deep because I feel that this mind game needs a lot of time.
True.
But thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for having me,
We are
Pedzi.
grateful.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
I think even me and the crew, our minds have just been, they're warm now. And we've got a lot of, cleaning up to do.
True.
So if you are watching this, I think you also have a lot of cleaning up to do. It all starts in your mind. Your success is in your mind. The hurt is in your mind. The failures are in your mind. And where you're going to go is in your mind. You have to look at the positive. As Mr. Gilbert says, pursue that, master that, and just run with that. This is MentorUsLive, and as you know, our goal is to introduce you to a different narrative, to people like Mr. Gwaze with their businesses and ideas, and hope that we can inspire you to pursue yours and impact the communities. My name is Pedzi Chimbwanda. We'll meet again next time. This was MentorUsLive. See you next time.